We're having an opportunity now to spend a little bit of time talking with Jenny McDonald about the kind of research activity that she's engaging in. So Jenny, the type of work that you're involved with right now from a research end, how would you describe that?
Well, I guess the kind of research I do is very much classroom based. So I'm interested in the kinds of responses students give to written questions, but in particular they're not just responses in terms of selecting items from a menu of options, as in a multi-choice question,
right,
but the kinds of constructed responses they give. So, for example, if they get asked a question, how do they write a response to that, a short answer question?
Now, are those responses then audible as well? If you ask a student an audible question in a classroom, or is it mainly response that they provide on a test or exam or a quiz?
No, it's mainly responses that they provide in terms of formative assessment. So one of the issues that we grapple with is that we have very large classes in the health sciences domain. We can have around 2,000 students, for example. And one of the issues is, how do you go about giving students the opportunity to practice giving short answer questions that they're going to get in their end of year exam, give them an opportunity to practice that before they hit the end of year exam, and actually give them some feedback on those questions. And that's a difficult problem to solve because, of course, you've only got a limited number of teaching staff, but we know from educational research that one of the most effective ways to help students to learn is to give them timely and appropriate feedback.
And so with the short answer responses or the text response that you're receiving from students, how do you evaluate those? What kinds of technologies do you use, or what kind of methods do you use to make sense of those student submissions?
Okay, so what we do is use some natural language processing techniques, which involves, in a sense, getting a machine to provide a response to the student. And what the machine does is it attempts to classify the student's free text response into one of a number of predetermined classes. Okay. If it can pop it into a class that it recognises, then the machine can give the student some feedback according to the class that the text has been assigned to.
And based on that, so one of the issues I think people naturally have is that there's this sense that, well, you can have a multiple choice exam being marked because we know the answer clearly, but once you have free-form text, and we sort of treat that as a bit of a hallowed ground, right? There's something about that we can't mark by through machine or natural language process approaches. So what are the results that you're getting from your research and from the analysis work that you're doing?
Okay. Well, I guess that's what's really interesting. Is one of the great benefits of looking at students' free text responses is you don't get back the teachers or the educators' preconceived ideas about what the students' conceptions are. You actually get the students' conceptions back. And that's a really nice thing about looking at free text responses as opposed to just getting them to select from a menu of options.
So if I'm a teacher then, now let's say I'm not, don't have intentions of being an academic and I don't necessarily want to be a researcher, but based on the kind of work that you're doing, some of the tools that you're using, how could I as a teacher, let's say I'm in the secondary school system or I'm teaching students in a first, second year in a college setting, how do I get started with what you're talking about? Are there tools that you could point me to, or is there something that I practically as an educator could start to do if I'm not a researcher to take advantage of the insights you're getting?
I think right now it's a little difficult to find tools that are accessible for all educators. There are a few starting to come out. One of the ones that is fairly recent, of course, is Carolyn Rose's Lightside tool. If you're handy with Python or a little bit of programming, many teachers aren't, but if you are, then something like the Natural Language Toolkit from Stephen Bird and his colleagues at the University of Melbourne is another great way to get started. But even simpler than that, I think ways of even just, you can use an Excel spreadsheet and a simple use a column sort, for example, to sort student responses into groups. So just using an alphabetic sort, for example, will tend to give you a clustering of student free text responses to an open question. And that can be simple so that you, at a glance, can see the kinds of responses that a large number of students are giving you to a particular question. That's very simple.
Great.
Doesn't always work, but there you go.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Okay.